Hey! I had to wind that Mickey Ficky up real quick. All right.
I still don't like it.
Yeah, well, this is the Bad Guy Has Spoken podcast. We got to my left, Brandon. And we got your host, of course, Kenny. And we got the man behind the camera, my dad. Change. Yeah. All right. This is the movie / TV show Pothole episode. Plothole. Yeah.
I thought you said pothole.
No, I did say that. I messed up. Yeah, keep that in there. Okay, so yeah. Before we get started on that, what did you guys think of the Last Dance? Last Dance. Last Dance. Last Dance. Ooh,
It messed up all the words.
Last Dance.
All right.
Today, because we got the GOAT.
Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. We, in the timing of this podcast, only the first 2 episodes have dropped.
Yeah.
So if anything else crazy happens before we're this is a quick little segment. What y'all think of it so far?
I thoroughly enjoyed it personally.
You did.
Thoroughly. I thought it was really good, but also it showed a different aspect of it. I think it kind of put some of the arguments to rest to me about like teammates and stuff like that, because his teammates were cokeheads.
That's
and
what I'm
weedheads.
saying.
And it's hard to compete with cokeheads when, like, people that say, well, let's say the LeBron versus Jordan argument. To me, it's harder to make.
You know
now.
they're coming.
Oh yeah, it's been coming, but I'm saying it's harder to make now with things like that being around. With him having to play with cokeheads, this man as a rookie, his team gave up after 9 points.
A 9-point
With an
deficit.
entire quarter left to go. The third quarter just ended. They were plotting for next game, and the third quarter has just ended.
Like, y'all didn't even try.
Yeah, like 9 points. That's three
that
quarters.
just tells you who we played.
You can come back on accident. Like it's easy. So well, not easy, but they gave up too quick, and that's a hard argument to make when things like that are happening.
And then you got the. And then on top of that, it just shows you how petty Jordan is. The fact that this nigga sat there, and the reason why he went off like that is because he lost in a golf game the night before. That's GOAT stuff. That's the GOAT right there.
Like if I don't win that golf, I feel like when I see you tomorrow, it's gonna be on. Like I'm gonna light you
It
up.
sure was.
Didn't he say tell Ainge I got something for him?
Yeah, he sure
said
did.
I think he said to
Oh boy
DJ.
was mad. The center was mad. He had to guard him. He said, "Man, I got to guard him too." He was mad.
Because you messed up.
Yeah, Bill Walton. He was
Yeah,
angry.
he fouled out.
I think
He had all of them in foul trouble.
I think it put a lot of our suspicions out there about management, well, Chicago management as a whole, because we've had problems with the Bears management. And this only tells you everything we already believed about the Bulls.
Yeah. So now we know that Jerry Krause and
Trash.
Carol Baskins are the most hated people of 2020.
Jerry Krause, like, I don't like Garpax either of the new one, of the new Bulls.
Let me be the GM, man.
I'm saying I like, he can make a little bit better decisions than they've been making, because Jerry Krause was ready to dismantle an entire team after 2 3-peats. He said whether they win or not, the coach is going, Pippen's probably going, half the team is going. But I'm like, what's the point?
of this guy?
Why would you rebuild if your team is doing good? You rebuild when things are like stagnant or when they're bad. You don't rebuild when you're
he's got 5
the
rings.
best team in the league.
He told him, I don't care if you win all 82 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he dang near did it. They had 72-10.
Now my
So-
heart. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what's the point? Like, why would you rebound some of that? That shows this man is stupid. Like, that shows you don't. That's not how you run a team. You don't
Exactly.
take away all your best things every time something's going good. It's like I took away the Futista Freeze. No, we was
Man, you
enjoying
bring that back.
No, we was enjoying that.
I love
That's how I feel.
Hell.
I felt for Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
This man took a sucker's deal, and Bulls management is so shady. They knew they gave this man a bad deal, and even when he showed that he was the superstar they wanted and needed him to be, they didn't make any effort to adjust it. They're like, "Screw you, you're locked in."
They didn't even make an effort to keep him.
Right.
They tried to trade him for Tracy McGrady, which almost happened, and somebody else. I can't remember who the other one was.
But he needs to really reconsider who he has in his camp, because he makes just bad decisions. He made bad decisions with the contract. I understand why he made that decision
actually
considering
really good,
financial need. But when you talk about his investments, this man invested $3-4 million into a jet that didn't work. He made $120 million in bad investments. I mean, whoever he's got advising him needs to go. Okay,
He made a bad investment with his wife.
you call that an investment?
That's at the future.
Yeah. Yeah, like from what I know, the first 2 episodes, like I said, Scottie Pippen was a great teammate. Like I said, I can't wait for the Dennis Rodman episode.
As great a teammate as you could have.
Yeah. But now we're gonna start with the movie plot holes. Get it right. All right. So you said you had a few movie plot holes.
Well, one of them in particular, Armageddon.
Movie Armageddon.
Yes.
The Bruce Willis movie. I was gonna say Bruce Lee. The Bruce Willis movie.
Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah. By the way, this is a spoiler alert. If you ever seen these movies, we're gonna spoil the mess out of them. So the first one is Armageddon.
And for the record, the statute of limitations for spoiling a movie is 6 months. So if anybody's got an issue with that, they can go ahead on. Okay. Armageddon. The very concept, the very thought of training drillers to become astronauts when it's much more economically sound, more feasible, more intelligent to train astronauts to be drillers. It was a waste of time, a waste of effort, and it very well could have failed. I realize it's Hollywood, but you think about that. I mean, just the one scene where your boy got space dementia, started shooting all over the place. He could have shot it. He was shooting equipment. He could have shot his own co-workers. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But so many weird things about that movie. I'm trying to think of.
For the plot holes.
Oh my goodness! That little Jeep they were driving. Remember they went and jumped that canyon in that thing?
I barely remember that movie. I ain't gonna lie to you. I barely remember that movie.
The first there were 2 space shuttles. One of the space shuttles went down with Ben Affleck, and they were separated from the team and assumed to be dead. So when you found out they were alive, they had one of those look like dune buggies, and they were going to drive to the other destination. They reached this huge canyon. And they used that theory where that astronaut training them said, if I were to kick you in the nuts, what would happen? He said, I'd go off into space. So they used that and said, we can jump this canyon with no gravity. Turn the jets on and then go right back down. That was just stupidity. You don't even remember that scene?
I don't remember.
There were things igniting out in space that shouldn't. You know, when you look at the whole concept of fire and eating oxygen, just so many things done wrong with that movie. It was just incredible. But since you guys don't remember it, we can move on to the next one.
The next one,
it exists.
I'll go with the Batman series. Batman, like the Christian Bale series, the Batman movies. Dark Knight, if you will. Now, I would say this. There are 2 scenes that still bother me to this day. The first one is on The Dark Knight Rises. Why? If you have a villain that's like, he's just out here villaining it up, why would you send the entire police force after someone? And then when they all get caught, they're like, oh, really? Like, nigga, that's why you don't do that. You don't send everybody to somebody. Like, that's ridiculous. That's number 1. And number 2, when they had, when Batman had the Joker in the interrogation room, he sat there and told this man, he said, tell me where they are. And he's like, ooh, this is, you know what I'm saying? The only reason he told him because he was just bored and he thought it'd be funny. So he was like, okay, look, she's at such and such location and he's at such and such location. But the twist was he had switched them. The dumb thing is, why would Batman go to one of them and the police not go to the other? Like, just go at the same time. Like and he was like, oh, man, that was the trick. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he really got him. Like, no, it's stupid.
Really? It's just bad leadership. That's all that was. It wasn't even like, that's not even like a plot hole. That's just bad leadership.
It's just like, it's like
bad direction.
It's just dumb. Like, it's.
Well, my other problem with the police going underground, they were down there for 6 months.
It was something like that.
Why is it everybody came up clean shaven?
That is true.
Not a single beer. Okay.
I'm over here looking rough. We've only been this quarantine thing for what, like a month now?
Like it's like barely a month.
Toy Story.
Which one? Which
the
one?
first one. Buzz Lightyear could not accept the fact that he was a toy. Couldn't acknowledge it. He believed he was real.
I mean, that's niggas for you. Niggas
Okay, so why is it every time Andy came in the room, he dropped with the rest of the toys, even before he was told to think about that?
That is true.
He would have been acting like his normal self. That's a problem.
Sit there like,
What y'all doing?
yeah, that's
I thought
that's
we
a good one.
boys.
That is a good one. And what's her name was going through it? Bo Peep, she was out here hustling. She was gone. She was gone for one movie, and she had went through it. It was a Toy Story 3 she was going for. She was acting a fool.
But you know what? I guess the whole concept with that is them not to reveal themselves to the children because you could traumatize them, and you risk the whole toy community being at risk. I mean, in danger because humans know they can come to life. But I'd like to think that Andy spent so much time with that boy, he's earned the right to find out the truth. Okay?
Yeah.
I would have said, look, man, we love you. We don't. You about to separate the group and send us all, send us packing and so,
That man would be in a straight jacket. You told that nigga that.
That's what you say. Don't tell nobody.
That movie, one movie long. It went
They revealed themselves to Sid or Psycho Sid, whatever his name was. So.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah, that is true. Well, that nigga
he's
became a
doing
garbage
just fine.
man. Yeah, that nigga became a garbage man.
Now he got a normal 9 to 5.
One I couldn't understand was Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
Luke went to the Dagobah system to train with Yoda.
Okay.
And it's implied that he was training with them for weeks with Yoda. Okay? Han, Leia, Chewbacca went to Cloud City.
Okay.
They weren't there for weeks. They were only there for like a couple days. If you look at how the movie was shot, they just arrived. He said hey to Lando, hugs and kisses. Strupio got shot. Next thing you know, they're being taken by Darth Vader. I'm like, there's a time discrepancy here.
That is true. Because they were not sitting in there.
Maybe time was different, different planets. But there's another issue I have. It's not even with that movie. It's a random issue to me. At the end of the third one, after Order 66 and everything happens, Yoda tells Obi-Wan to go to this planet because you're going to continue your training because you have an old master that is learning to be a Force Ghost, which is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay.
What was the purpose of him being a Force Ghost if he didn't tell anybody anything or help anybody do anything for 3 straight movies? He died in the first one. The second one, he didn't do nothing. The third one, he watched Anakin become evil and destroy all the Jedi and didn't do anything. He was a ghost. He could have told them or Anakin to chill. He could have said something. He just watched it all happen.
That is true. It was
pointless.
It is true. There's a lot that went down, and I'm gonna wait till the Star Wars podcast before, because I got way more questions than that. I got quite a few.
We got a lot of things to discuss with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask y'all when we all do that.
Before I don't want to change the topic, but when you guys are discussing Hollywood, you know that it's rumored that Chadwick Boseman is not going to return as Black Panther. In fact, the recent viewings of him or sightings of him is with a whole lot of weight lost, apparently for another movie project.
I saw that. He looked nasty.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so they may focus on his sister.
He looked like E.T. in that movie. He looked nasty.
Well, in the comics, Shuri became Black Panther at one point, so that could be what's happening. And if that does happen, I wonder how successful that movie will be. How many people will want to go see, Letitia Wright?
We losing everybody.
Pretty much. We lost Captain America. I'm still sore about that.
I'm sore about Iron Man.
Well, you knew somebody had to go with these contract negotiations, so hey.
So, my next movie is your movie, Independence Day. My plot hole that I got for that movie. How did a computer virus from the 1990s stop a futuristic ship?
One virus that they created shut down the whole system.
We're going to be back after this message, 'cause we got to talk about that. And we're back. So this is the plot hole episode. So like I said, we're discussing continuity errors. We're discussing, just dumb stuff that's going on in the movies that don't make sense. So go on with the next one.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show.
Okay.
What is it one thing vampires cannot do that humans do?
They can't breathe.
They can't breathe. And yet, Buffy has choked the spit out of several vampires, rendering them unconscious.
Yeah, there's a few times. And then another thing is too, the when they get burned up by sunlight, the timing is always different. When it's not a main character vampire, it takes them forever to get burned up. We saw Angel run and tackle somebody.
That's right.
We saw him run and tackle somebody. Yeah, on the beach.
Yes.
And it took him forever. Spike was running around with a big blanket, and it was taking him forever. But let a little bit of sunlight touch the anointed one. This nigga blew up immediately.
But speaking of, how is Spike running around and your coat is smoking? Your coat cannot smoke unless there is something on fire beneath it. You know what I mean? Just get ready to go up. How's his coat smoking? He's perfectly fine when he throws that jacket off. So if that's the case, if it's just his coat, and you tell me his coat's a vampire too? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was about to say that didn't make sense.
But with the vampires breathing, the one that got me the most was when Darla and Drusilla walked in that warehouse and had gasoline all over the floor, and Angel lit it up.
Yeah.
He lit it with a cigarette that he had in his mouth. How is he keeping this thing lit if he has He's smoking it?
They kept doing that. Yeah, they kept doing stuff with the breathing.
I never understood.
There's a lot of stuff that didn't make sense. Like, as much as I love that show, there's a lot of stuff that didn't make sense in that show.
Still a good show, though. Should do a podcast about that show one day.
Buffy?
Yep.
I have a random. It's not even a thing.
Well,
it's just something I always think about. This isn't even related to Buffy.
Well, it's been so many years now. But anyway, go ahead.
But just something I just think about. In the movie Freedom Riders,
So that was just random. Like, that was.
I mean,
left turn.
what I was thinking about was, didn't she have other classes? Why were they the only ones like with problems? Like, are they the only she did all this special stuff for them? Were they the only? It's a true story, so I'm wondering that. Like, that's my question. Were they the only class?
Probably summer school.
I was gonna say that was either like a special needs class because they didn't leave when the bell rang.
That's what I'm saying. The bell rung. They just sat there. So I'm like, were they the only class she had? Because it was a big school when they had that riot in the beginning and everybody was fighting. And so I'm like, and when they moved, they all still had the exact same class. Like, because when they went from freshman to sophomore, they all were still in the same class. It was the same people.
Like, how did y'all do
with
that?
One new person? How did nobody else get it to just schedule? Like, at the same period?
You don't know nothing, no lady. Just kidding.
And she only taught one subject, so why were they there for so long? Like, why did they all have the same one? Why was nobody's schedule jumbled? Why wasn't it like one period was half of the class and another period was second? It was the same people for 4 years. So it's like that's what confused me.
One of the problems I had with that was I forgot just that quickly. Yikes. The scene where they drew the picture of the black dude, making fun of the ethnicity, his facial features.
He was hurt.
Okay.
He was hurt.
Okay.
That could have been
I could understand if you are in an all-white class and saw something like that. You got black people in that class. You got backup.
It was nothing but blacks and Latinos.
You got backup. So why are your feelings hurt? Because they made a black joke about you. I'm like, I've been holding this thing up. I've been holding up like, who the who? Y'all see this?
That shouldn't even be what hurt his feelings. Oh no. But some black people were laughing in the scene too. But that shouldn't be what hurt his feelings. What hurt his I feel like if you're in a school like that that's racist, that was gang affiliated, stuff like that, they were saying way worse things than that picture that they drew. I know they were calling him all kind of N-words and all kind of other stuff.
Which never should have happened. You got black people in that class with you.
Yeah, but they have race riots every other day. It didn't really matter. All it took was that picture.
They was throwing them though when they was outside.
I'm saying.
Speaking of throwing them, I just thought of it. The Warriors. My father brought this up, and before I could actually catch him when I saw it years ago with him. They sent 9 delegates from 9 gangs to Central Park for this big meeting.
I did that one time.
And they had to make it all the way back to Coney Island.
Okay.
My first problem is Cyrus gets shot.
Okay.
Your boy stands up and says it was them, the Warriors did it, and they just automatically believe it.
How did nobody see him shoot him?
That's my problem. He said the Warriors did it, and everybody believed it, and the Gramercy Riffs went and attacked Cyrus. There's no investigation. He fired that gun off. You had gangs all next to him that said, I saw him shoot it.
Cow. They did it. It's like, nigga, we right next to you. No, he didn't. Get this nigga.
Right.
Then he should have elbowed that nigga like the dead old boy. Just,
that's what I'm saying. You can tell by the trajectory, so many things. Like,
and then prior to prior to the climax, you find out because they said they sent somebody else to meet with the new leader of the Rifts, and he claims he saw who shot Cyrus. So now you just gonna believe him all of a sudden? Do you believe the first? I mean, this makes the Rifts look just ignorant as hell to me. So, but
they all did wear martial arts outfits,
right. But that was my problem with it. But the thing my father brought up, he said, "How you call yourself a gang and can't none of y'all hotwire a car and drive home?" The movie's over right then and there.
Yeah,
and even if you can't hotwire a car, you can't stop somebody in an intersection and say, "Get out of the car and take it." I mean, if your life, your life is
they
at
care
stake.
more about getting some booty. The old boy was trying to rape a lady at the park bench. He cared more about that.
He got set up.
Set up.
In his defense, you know how I feel about rape, but he got set up.
I was like, he got set up.
AJ got set up. He got to the park. Hey, lady, you okay? You need some help? His rap was weak. Okay. And then when she finally was talking to him, she said, "I bet you said all the ladies. You want to show me what you do with the ladies?" So he did. He started kissing on her. She said, "Hold on, we'll get it on." He kept kissing on her. Then she slaps the cuffs on him and say, "Your nights in the park are over." She said, "Do you want to show me what you do with the ladies?"
Yeah, you remember.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, you right on that.
He didn't just do it and just out of nowhere. Was she saying, I'm waiting on my boyfriend. Please leave me alone."
Yeah, like technically that's consent. Like,
He got set up.
I ain't gonna say that because I feel like something going. They gonna pull this clip up.
I also
He
feel
said, "I was gonna leave it alone."
Exactly. He's gonna be surviving the bad guys podcast.
Yeah.
the other problem I had with that is, if it's 9 delegates from your gang and the Warriors made it all the way back, not once did you bother to make a phone call to Coney Island, say, "Come get us," or even when they got there, where's the rest of the gang? They're home now. He's talking about when I see the dunes, I feel like we're home. This is you know. Okay, so where's your crew?
That is true. It was just empty. He was just empty there.
I mean, I realize they sleep it in because it's the next morning, but still, I had a problem with a lot of that with the movie. And the fact that they're going to make a remake or talking about making a remake doesn't sit well with me because the whole concept of needing to make it back somewhere safely is out the window because with everybody's got a cell phone, a smartphone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just you
Well,
can't make a movie like that.
I think they can make it
again.
modernized. Like it won't be I feel like they should make it. If they do, make it not be the exact same story. Make it be something like similar, but it's a different type of thing. We'd have to go to like a whole other city and it being like her ass the whole way there instead of just like downtown.
But no, your next one.
I thought you had one.
No, the one I had was at Independence Day. Where he never answered that. How did they send that old behind code up to them aliens? And it stopped a futuristic alien ship like that.
Wait, what guarantee that he even had? How could he have created a virus? How would he even know what kind of virus to create?
That's what I'm saying. It didn't make sense.
So
that's another reason why I hate that movie.
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill.
Kill Bill. Beatrix, star of the movie, was in a coma for 5 years.
Okay.
Your body, your muscles will atrophy. You saw that because she couldn't move her legs, right?
Wiggle the big toe, yeah.
Had to wiggle her big toe. Explain to me, if she couldn't use those lower extremities, how does the upper extremities work? Like she managed to kill 2 people with her arms and hands. Handle a wheelchair. You can't even move your legs. Can't even move your toe, but your arms are functioning like there's nothing. If it atrophies, it's all in. Legs and the arms are the same.
Okay.
There's no way she should have been able to kill those people with that amount of strength. Having been out for 5.
But then again, she did punch her way out of a coffin, so we really can't. So
the realism isn't always there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not always there. And somebody got their eyeball yanked out of their head. Okay,
that's not a plot hole. That's the worst way to go.
That's
the worst way to go.
There was no
no lid, no eyelid, just eye.
It was perfectly round. Like she didn't squish it. Nothing. It was out.
She snatched the eyeball out of her head. So now this girl is flapping around.
Wait! She took a shotgun to the shotgun.
Full of rock salt. I think it was rock salt.
Oh, it was rock salt. Okay.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't real. No.
I couldn't remember. I haven't seen the movie in forever. But I just remember. I didn't like that one either. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I looked that movie. I thought it was really overrated.
I think your girl went the worst way because not only are you blind, you got the snake still inside of there, and you don't know where the phone is. You can't call for help. You're stuck in there. When she left that place, that girl is stuck
And
screaming.
then she was kicking and screaming and everything. So she's gonna kick that snake. Snake gonna bite the mess out of her.
even if she found her way to the door, where's she gonna go? The place is out in the boonies. Okay, that was screwed up. But the movie, plot holes. Even when she sent when the Crazy 88s, the fight with them, the first crew, Oren Oshii's crew that was up there eating with her, hanging out. When she sent them down to kill her individually. First person, I think it was, she picked him up with a sword. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, forget.
It's already ridiculous. For some reason, in the movies where it's one person versus many, they never jump in at the same time.
That's going back to Bruce Lee.
They always one-on-one everybody. They always one-on-one for some reason. If you got 300 people fighting them, you might as well just all jump on them and end it just right there. They always jump in one at a time. They all get lit up. And another thing, too, is if I see a nigga superhero or martial artist or anything like that, I'm not gonna be the 18th nigga to jump in there. I'm like, nigga, you just seen him rip this nigga's head off. I'm out.
No, I like how they move around when they're fighting the people one-on-one. It's like those old Bruce Lee movies. You see everybody on the outside, the perimeter, moving around in a circle like the Beat It video. They were circling them while they were fighting.
It's like, I don't know. I never understood that. I always thought that was stupid.
World War Z.
Okay. I haven't almost seen the movie once, so
I only saw it once too, but there's one scene that I always get reminded of, and I noticed it back then. If you remember when they were outside, when they were in Jerusalem, and they were all singing in prayer, and which was stupid in itself because that's what attracted all the zombies to begin with, the sound, the collective singing, and they all knew where to show up. These zombies piled up on. If you remember, they piled up on top of each other until they were able to reach that high point of that wall and crawl over. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
The way the human body is made, they never could have made it to the top. The sheer weight from everybody would have crushed those people on the bottom. It's not like they could just crawl up each other like that. Can you imagine being on the bottom of that totem pole? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And even if they were crawling on crushed bodies, that would take hours and hours because it's like just constantly flattening something. So I had a problem with that. Movie was okay. The only thing I didn't like about it was the way it was shot. The zombies weren't even scary. It's different when you got Dawn of the Dead, where you can see these people look at you and they running towards you. This was just cutting action, running so fast, all CGI. They weren't even realistic to me.
I figured because they were just running off of buildings and stuff. But that's still scary though to me. Them running zombies, I know it'd be a wrap for me.
Yeah, running zombies are
Ooh.
running zombies
fly, but
running zombies are scary.
zombies.
Running zombies are scary, but these weren't even realistic looking. They just all running, super speed, look like a swarm of bees. So.
That's a pit bull. It's a Rocky.
I turned to Rick Steiner.
Running zombies.
I'm not gonna watch this on YouTube because I don't want to see the responses about my voice.
But yeah, I'm gonna say that all them little running zombie movies, it's a wrap because you can't breathe. These niggas won't stop.
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
He offered Aladdin a chance to become a genie again. I mean, a prince again, right?
Okay.
Why would he stop being a prince? Don't expire. You already got your wish, so how does he stop being a prince?
That is true. Once he did, it's like once they did another wish, the first one canceled out. That's what it was. So
yeah, that should be whatever that wish is remains the same. If that's the case, why even have wishes?
Yeah, because there was no point.
Just temporary.
He needs to say that when he gives him the contract. I'll grant your wishes, but you get it for 20 minutes. You know.
But Aladdin really was the first catfish. But we'll be back after these messages. And we're back. All right. So, the next one that I was planning on doing was, forget the movie just that fast. Well, did you have one? Was it's on kind of me. I literally had
Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Okay. What about that?
It's explained in the first one that the only reason they could send the T-800 back, whatever Arnold Schwarzenegger's model name was,
I think it was T-1000.
because what's that?
I think it was T-1000.
No, T-1000 was the second one.
Okay.
But Arnold came. Well, that's because I was going to say that's my point about the T-1000. Arnold can only come back if he's covered in living tissue. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, living human tissue. That's the only way they can make it possible to send him back.
Yeah.
How did the T-1000 make it back? He is liquid metal.
That is true. I never thought about that.
So, and another problem I had, and I knew as soon as I saw it in the movie, it rubbed me wrong. When the T-1000 had his mother up against the wall, and he rammed it, he created like a spear and ran it through her shoulder, and he starts turning it in her, and he said, "I know this hurts. Call for John." Remember, he was doing that so she could hear John's voice, and then John could hear his mother's voice and go run into her, right?
Yeah.
Why does he need to tell her to call for John? He can mimic anything he touches. He's already made contact with her. Earlier in the movie, he killed John's parents and was on the phone talking in that voice.
Yeah.
So why does he need to do that to her, other than torture? And even in that case, why even torture? Kill her and assimilate her body, and call for John. There was no reason to sit there and say, "Call for John." Wait, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah. This shot make him look more villainous.
I know. I just.
Something. Well, did you remember yours yet?
No, I didn't.
Well, something random. This ain't even plot hole. I low-key would just want to discuss this movie, and it's also just one scene in particular. But Fight Club. Okay. One particular scene that bothers me is the fight between him and what's his name, Tyler Durden at the end.
Just he was beating himself up.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. He was getting dragged all across that room. And on the security cameras, you saw him being dragged, but nothing was dragging him.
Freddy Krueger.
How was he? Yeah, how was he moving like that? If you're fighting something, it's not possible to move like that.
That nigga was crazy.
Also, he didn't have a name in that movie, did he?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't have a name.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
No, they never once said his name.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I didn't think about that.
Throughout the entire movie, they never once said his name.
Easy one. E.T. E.T. phone home. When that extraterrestrial got abandoned by the ship that left in the beginning, he couldn't get up there with him to leave. At the end of the movie, when Elliot and his boys are being chased by the police, E.T.'s on the bike. They set up the barricade in the road. E.T. levitates everybody, and they fly over it, fly as high as the moon. You even see him flying in front of the moon.
Yeah.
Why didn't E.T. do that at the beginning of the movie when the ship was leaving and fly up to it?
Okay. I go back and watch the movie. I didn't watch the movie since I was a kid.
That's just...
Yeah, because that does make a lot of sense. Like, simple stuff like that, I'm just like, okay. Here's my thing. Okay, speaking of movies, it's not a plot hole, but it's like, this movie should have been 2 seconds long. When Thanos first came down and he was fighting Doctor Strange, why didn't Doctor Strange just have a portal go around his head and then have an end at his neck and then just close the portal?
Why didn't Thanos put the thing around his wrist and cut the gauntlet off of his head?
That's what I'm saying. It was a lot. Like, Doctor Strange could have really did it by himself.
I think somebody asked that, and I think they explained it somehow. It was probably in one of the timelines. They saw it wouldn't have worked somehow, maybe. I don't know.
I don't care how many timelines I'm looking at. I do not see that failing. You chopping the man's head off.
It does it. You're making a portal going around his neck.
Maybe it's like if I do this in 35 years, something bigger than Thanos will come up and kill us all because I did this instead of doing it another way. I don't know. Either way.
Yeah, in all the universes, you ain't seen not one.
But he never did like Iron Man, so maybe that was why he did it.
Wow.
Maybe that's why he chose that one. That's why he chose that one.
Stay woke.
It's my belief since Doctor Strange could set up the portals. Why didn't he? Okay, granted they were out in space while everybody else was fighting over in Wakanda. But I'm thinking you need to send Vision through a portal and take him someplace safe while the battle's going on, or where Shuri could work on him. Because when the battle was going on, not true. Doctor Strange, he's up there and handling business on his own. But I'm sitting there thinking, you got to think about all the pieces on the puzzle. You need to be putting everybody in safe places. You guys are going after Thanos up here, but you need to make sure Vision is someplace safe because he's got one of the gems.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a problem when you're talking about Doctor Strange. What else was about that movie?
I have another one about Star Wars. I don't know. This isn't really a plot hole either, and I don't know if it's maybe too soon to bring it up about the new one. It isn't just about the new one, but it ties into that one too. I forget what it's called. But y'all think it's too soon to talk about it or not?
Aren't you doing an episode about Star Wars?
I mean, we are, but
you won't be discussing that plot hole in the movie, though.
I mean, it ain't nothing crazy. But why doesn't the Emperor ever stop shocking? In every third one, in every movie, his downfall is because he doesn't stop shooting electricity from his hands.
Okay, that's another thing too, though, because the third and what would it be, the ninth movie?
Yeah. And the sixth one.
No, well, that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying just in general, that was the same movie.
I mean, dang near.
If we go sit there and do this, the same thing.
Dang near, but I'm saying all three trilogies, the third movie, they all end because he doesn't stop shocking. And in his fight with Mace Windu, he's shocking, and then he's reflecting it with the lightsaber, and he's burnt, and he's lighting
Tearing his
himself
own
up.
face up, yeah.
In the sixth one, he's shocking Luke, and he doesn't stop shocking when Darth Vader picks him up. He throws him down that thing. He's still shocking all the way down for whatever reason. And in the ninth one, he's shocking, and then Rey pulls out both of those lightsabers.
It turns into
It turns and gets him, and he's still shocking. Why doesn't he ever stop?
Yeah.
That's what I've always wondered. Why does he never stop doing it?
I would think their explanation would be it's kind of like, just like even so much as running, you need a moment to regenerate.
I don't know.
This is my thought. You think about it. You run for sprints. You got to stop and catch your breath, and you run some more. And I think that's the case because he's sitting there lighting people up at full blast, and then he stops. You know, who knows how long he needs to regenerate. But it's one thing if he's just gloating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if it's hurting himself, he needs to stop. Like you need.
Well,
to
not
stop
so
it.
much hurting himself, but I mean he just runs out and needs a couple seconds to build back up and get him again. That's how I think they might explain it.
He didn't do that with Mace Windu. He's unlimited, and he shut him out that window, and and he chilled out. Like it was immediately done. He did. It was a choice. He liked it. He wanted to get shot.
I was about to say, yeah, he a freak.
Why didn't Darth Vader recognize C-3PO? He built him.
Wait, say it again?
Anakin Skywalker built C-3PO. Why didn't Darth Vader recognize him? I mean,
Because he didn't
unless
have a red arm no more.
There's a couple things like that because I think Obi-Wan didn't recognize him either.
He didn't in that one.
Well, and you know, understanding that
didn't.
years pass, and there are probably a whole bunch of 3PO models out there. They probably all look alike. Maybe all have the same voice. But just the fact that he's associated with the rebellion and knows so much, I don't know. I would think that one of them would have recognized C-3PO.
I said there's a bunch. I'm trying to think of some more. But there's a lot, particularly with Star Wars and characters not remembering each other, stuff like that.
Well,
because there's one with Chewbacca I'm thinking of too. I just can't remember what it is.
That's another thing. Darth Vader could sense Obi-Wan's presence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Darth Vader knew that Luke Skywalker was his son. Why now? And if he can feel that because of the, let's say the midichlorian DNA, the makeup they have between the two of them, when he was interrogating Princess Leia in the first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, why didn't he at least sense that something felt a little off? Like I feel some kind of connection with this girl. You know what I mean? She's a twin.
But he act like he knew. He been knew.
He knew about Luke. He didn't know about her because in Return of the Jedi, he said a sister. Remember that? That's when he realized the boy had a sister.
Oh, I thought he was saying like he been knew.
No, he said unless, and then he paused and he went, sister.
How did it take them till they were being born in the third one to then realize they're having twins?
Who?
How did they not know that beforehand?
For who to realize they had
Padme.
twins?
How did because remember when she was giving birth, they
Oh,
thought
why
they were
did she
twins.
not know she was having twins?
How did they not know that before? Especially with the Force, like they should be able to feel that.
She wasn't that big anyway, so.
She wasn't.
She was waifish.
Also, Padme just died. She died by choice. That's another thing.
Broken heart.
Yeah, because it said she lost the will to live.
She got choked out too. So.
I was about to say Obi-Wan did walk in on domestic violence.
She did, but after that, they said she's lost the will to live. So she could have stayed and raised them kids if she had wanted to. She just didn't.
Yeah, ain't nobody that heartbroken that.
like,
So who's the bigger deadbeat then?
she died and left her
She said, man, that's some
At
kids.
least Darth Vader was trying to reconnect with Luke near the end. Padme never even gave it a chance.
Exactly.
Padme is
That's
the
true.
biggest deadbeat in Star Wars history.
Startling revelation.
Yeah.
No, but you know you're right because I would think that a woman's natural instinct is to protect her young. She will die.
She didn't
fighting.
even try.
She
just died. She just died.
She needed to move on from your boy and just say, okay, I got to get past him. I got to raise these kids. I got to get on Section 8. I got to do something.
It wasn't like
She had the most toxic nigga in all the galaxy. He was choking her up. He was doing all this different mess. He said, nigga, turn to the dark side.
Okay, we need to talk about toxicity. I know you probably talk about toxic people. We need to talk about this dude now, okay? This
Who?
boy had Anakin.
Oh, the toxic
This
nigga?
boy, I need Jason here to do his impression of him.
Oh, the toxic nigga?
This boy.
So wait, are you saying in TV show history, he's the most toxic nigga? I don't know TV show, but I mean movie history.
I don't know, but I know this
there.
man This man automatically assumed everybody was hitting it with Padme, no matter what you said. You're doing it with her, Obi-Wan.
Okay, wait. And to play devil's advocate, when you sitting there, when your girl walk up, she run up to you, and you see your nigga standing just like this,
like a porn star,
like he just got done.
That's Obi-Wan's fault. Though. She didn't know. She didn't even know he was on. She didn't know he was on there. He did that on purpose.
He stood there like this, like nigga. Now I gotta choke you out. So I feel where Anakin was coming from.
No, but Padme, it wasn't like she died during childbirth. She died after. She named them, held them, all of that, and she chose to die.
And then start slipping in the darkness.
She lost the will to live. She just chose to die. There was no reason. Like it was just other than the fact that she wasn't in the original. So it's like, well, we gotta have her die somehow. So
she really did just die. But wait, if we're gonna talk about toxic niggas, here's my top. Here's my top ones. We're gonna have Purple Rain, the kid, for sure, because he was beating her. And then she was her dream was to be a musician. This nigga stopped that dream, and then it pretty much said, look, you gonna be with me, and you just gonna be my girl. That's just gonna be it. You ain't gonna be nothing else. And she was like, okay. So when she did go do her dream with a nigga he didn't like, the first thing this nigga did was
wait, before you do it, let me say it. I'm gonna join Morris's group.
Stop it, Dad. She's heard you.
That's what I'm saying. You want to stop him, but you can't stop yourself. The kid, you are trash. Next toxic nigga. I'm going on the list. Nino Brown. I'll take everybody down with me, like Nino Brown did. I'll take everybody down with me. I say, yeah, Nino Brown.
This whole thing's bigger than Nino Brown.
Yeah, you another toxic nigga. Nino Brown sat there and...
Wait, stop. You give me the Corona cough. I'm getting the Corona cough. Stop it.
He poured liquor on his girl's back and said, cancel this nigga. I'll get another one.
That was kind of foul.
And before that, he said, what did he say to her at the party, at the wedding?
Is he still mad? Get in.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you did this. Then you openly shot your shot at another girl. Well, actually, no, she was shooting a shot at him. And you were going to do it.
Yeah, he engaged
in front of G Money.
In front of her dude and his own girl. Mm-hmm. He said, all right then, walked on like he's about to go do it.
That's supposed to be your best friend.
That's supposed to be your nigga.
And G Money gonna try to laughingly play it off. Oh, you come on back and quit playing. You need to say, hey.
And exposed your girl for not being able to have kids.
To a total stranger.
To a stranger.
That was wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't have no kids, man.
He was just bold. Like, he is up there for one of the most toxic niggas.
Wait, why did she stick around after he put her out on like that? I was just like, wow.
Why was he gonna give her a kid? That random woman. Why was he gonna give her a kid?
Nigga, you in the drug dealing life. It's flimsy.
I'm saying.
Another toxic nigga. What's her name from Shameless? Y'all haven't gotten to the show yet. Y'all ain't get into it. But Fiona from Shameless is the most toxic nigga in anything. TV shows, movies. That's my number one right there. So I ain't gonna get into it, but she's got a lot of niggas on that show. Next one, Jody. Jody from Baby Boy. That's another toxic nigga.
I got one. Everybody in Naruto is toxic. They're all deadbeats. Every last one of them. Well, any anime, because Goku too.
Yeah, he'd rather train than raise his kids. We're gonna be right back after these messages. And we're back.
We still on toxic people?
Yeah. Well, see,
Jody.
I had to go in on toxic niggas real quick. Jody, first off, this nigga, okay, we can go right to the beginning. I don't know, there's something that makes me uneasy about Jody standing outside of an abortion clinic eating lemon heads. I don't know, something about that is just off.
Because he's bitter.
He was just sitting there like, I don't know, something about that is just off to me. That's just off, first off. Second thing was like, I don't know. It was just the fact this nigga did a raspberry. Is that what it's called?
Blow a raspberry.
Yeah, blow a raspberry.
He's a grown man.
Blowing a raspberry at a female after you denied her. Well, you didn't really deny her.
You cheated.
Well, see, he technically cheated. He just didn't finish. He just didn't finish.
He cheated.
Right around town on Debo's bike. Or shooting Red's bike.
He was like, man, they stole your car. I stole my car. This nigga rode down the street with that bike. And didn't he have kids behind him too when he was doing it? Weren't there kids following with the bike too? With their bikes too?
That's his crew.
If that's the case, yeah, he's trash. And on top of that, your friend is trash too because this nigga pretend to go to work. He will go from 9 to 5 o'clock, go to his friend's house and play Madden all day at Do Dirty's house, and just sit there and play Madden all day, pretend like he's working.
So why does
Dude,
girl
dirty.
not get skeptical? Like this nigga never came home with a check.
That's my thing.
They never brought home money. He's always at work.
He just ran somebody else's bill up.
Well, his mama was kind of trash too because she sat there and accused that boy of planting that marijuana in the yard.
I mean, when you
Went
think of
off
this man's,
on him.
we think of this man's history, he's trash.
Yeah, but she went off on her son, and
Yeah.
then when it found out it wasn't him, it was her
seconds later.
man. She didn't say
2
nothing.
seconds later, she didn't even ask.
She didn't say nothing.
said,
He said they're crying. Mama, what about him? This ain't gonna treat you, mama. Mama. She just,
And then he closed fist swung on your child in front of you. Hit the nigga so hard the ball was flying back.
and it broke your coffee table.
he cooking butt naked in the house.
He's when he hit him
If he's
too.
cooking butt naked in the house, he runs the house. All right.
Wait, did he steal? I'm trying to remember. Did he steal the channels when he brought did Melvin steal those channels, or did he legit buy it? I can't remember.
I think he hooked it up, but wasn't he like a cable man?
But I can't remember. All I remember that nigga is in jail. Like I remember they was like, you foul.
But Melvin was suffering from prison PTSD because when he snapped. You see, you don't do nobody like that. When he was
Yeah,
walking
he
around.
did.
Nigga
But
slapped
not
him in
only
the
that,
head.
he kissed the man on top of his head.
Yeah.
He's toxic too. We ain't gonna sit there and act like he's not toxic too. But Jody is the most toxic nigga though. He had 2 baby moms that he was going back and forth with, messing with both of them.
And then talking trash to the dude on the phone when he's in prison. Snoop.
And then-
The boy's gonna get out.
Yeah, not only that, the
Why was
nigga
it-
back.
Why was it such a surprise when he did get out? As much as she been talking to him, she didn't know like it was coming up. Like
Not even that. The nigga. First off, the nigga backhanded his girl and then ate her out immediately after. Like,
oh, with your
Well, Snoop wasn't no day at the beach either. He gonna rape the girl in front of her son.
with that loose tank top.
no, it wasn't a loose tank top. He was just little in that tank
That's
top.
what I'm talking about.
Let's say he was just little, so that tank top was drooping.
You know what?
for
I
some
give
reason.
Snoop this. Anybody that can run for his life while being shot at and look that cool while he's running.
He didn't even look real when he was running. I was like, do you
it
really?
didn't even face.
Everything he does is slow. Like Snoop Dogg's my nigga, but everything he does is just slow.
They run on the green screen.
He just looked super slow when he was running.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
Everybody's looking for the Ark to take it back to.
I said, everybody look around. I think you better start singing.
Everybody look around because the reason to rejoice. They're gonna take the Ark back to Hitler so they can win the war.
Okay.
When the thing opened up, Indiana Jones told Marion, "Don't look." Obviously, he knew something was wrong. Why not let the Ark go all the way back to Hitler? Because they're gonna open it. The stuff he did to Belloc and everybody in that room, he could have did to the whole Third Reich.
Well, you gotta think that was sick what he just watched. That was disgusting.
Yeah, but
that was really disgusting.
even if even after that scene, after he killed everybody in that room, he could have just left it for the Germans to find and take it back. Like, this thing will destroy them on its own. Let them take it. I mean, unless he's just that much of a humanitarian that he believes in,
Yeah, he ain't
saving
he
lives.
ain't gonna wipe them niggas out like that.
I would have let it go. Anybody want to watch? That's your thing. That's what you get for watching.
Yeah.
Karate Kid.
Yeah, he kicked the man in the face. He wasn't supposed to.
What's the rule in the tournament?
Yeah, you can't.
No
kick him
kicking in the face.
Yeah, nigga kicked him in the face.
And he won from kicking old dude in the face.
Like,
We are teaching children it's okay to cheat.
I was about to say, yeah, he kicked him in the face, and everybody was like, yeah. I'm like, nigga, what you mean?
Rule number 1.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Okay, that was just foul.
No, but that didn't make sense to me. You think in real life just kicked the nigga in the head.
I did have a question about that pod that escaped from Star Wars in A New Hope, the first one, when 3PO and R2-D2 escaped in that pod and landed on Tatooine. Remember?
Okay.
They jettisoned out in the pod, and they said, we see that a pod ejected, and they're like, it's probably just a malfunction, let it go.
I was ejaculated.
It tells you where your mind is. They told him the thing jettisoned, and he said it's probably just a malfunction, let it go. Do you take those kind of chances when you're at war? I mean, if nothing else, the pod, if there's no life on there, it could have the plans somewhere on that pod. You know what I mean? Because that's what they were after.
Yeah.
I mean, and if nothing else, they could have. They couldn't even take a moment to just shoot it. What's it gonna cost you? One missile?
Exactly.
How did Anakin know how to fly with the Force? I mean, not fly. How to?
You just answered it.
Yeah,
The
you
Force.
did just answer it, yeah.
But how did he know how to use it? Is what I'm saying.
It was. I don't know.
Because if everybody was talking about Rey, how she had no training, Anakin didn't have any training in that first movie. How did he know how to use the Force to be able to beat Sebulba in that
He
race?
had the highest midichlorian count.
That don't mean he know how to use it. He didn't even know he had a midichlorian. He didn't know what a midichlorian was till 5 minutes before that.
But that nigga was using it when he was driving because nigga been out here pod racing.
And he lost every race.
Did he lose every race?
He lost every race before that.
I didn't
Well,
know
he
that.
needed Qui-Gon to say, "Trust your feelings."
Because he literally... No,
I didn't know he lost every one. I forgot about that.
He lied to him because he told... He's like, yeah, I'm the best pilot, all this stuff. And then when it's finally time, he was like, I never won one of these races. And I was like, nigga, you're trash.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like, how you gonna lie to this man? And he'd have bet everything on you. He was cool with it. Oh, trust your feelings.
Here's another plot hole.
For that.
Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. So, I'm gonna go. This is the sixth one. So in the sixth one, they were trying to figure out who was Freddy's kid.
Okay.
How did she not know? Like, that was your childhood. Like, how did you not know? You walked in.
Oh, why doesn't she remember her
She don't
father
remember any of it.
as a child? Well, sometimes psychological damage. But
I can see if you don't remember a night.
sometimes people block that out, but she seemed to have
block
blocked
your
out her entire
whole
childhood.
That's what I'm saying. Because literally, it was like, because I remember the whole movie. The dude thought he was Freddy Krueger's kid.
Yeah.
It ended up being a twist, like, oh, it wasn't him the whole time. It was her. And she had to put on she had to put on 3D glasses in order to go back in time and see that, you know, he had choked at the mom in broad daylight, mind you, in broad daylight, choked her out. And then she was crying. I'll never tell.
I'm telling everybody.
It's like, you better not tell that nigga.
I'm running out of the backyard.
Shoot, the mom got choked up just for walking in the basement. Like, he was walking in on the stuff.
Need to
Said,
choke
Mommy
y'all
had
for
to
coming
take her
in the basement.
medicine. He was going to work too. Nah, but it was just that didn't make sense to me. How you block out your whole childhood?
I just hate that the Freddy, the entire franchise just doesn't decide what they want to do with him. The very first one, she got rid of him by saying,
I don't believe in you.
I don't believe in you. I
stupid.
refuse to acknowledge your existence, and he goes away. Now, we're not going to talk about him snatching Mama through the window hole at the end of the movie.
That's another plot hole. So, if he snatched the mom through the window like that, or the door, whatever he did, because it looked goofy, whatever it was, it looked stupid. Okay. And you saw them, or they're on the car, you see the top of it come up, and you see the red and green stripes. You're like, oh, snap, you know, Freddy got him. He's screaming, ah! They drive off. How in the world you come back in the third one? Like, nothing happened. Like,
I always thought of that ending as maybe a dream sequence in itself, like a nightmare for her, that you don't realize is a nightmare. She just goes to sleep and dreams about that, and that's how the movie ends. That's the way I took it when I first saw it. Because it was so
that would make
outlandish.
sense, but they said the mom never came back in the later one. So she got snatched through that window.
That's another thing about Freddy Krueger. He, in the very first one, the very first death scene, when the girl was being killed in the bed, you saw the raised covers, and then the camera quickly goes to underneath the covers where you see Freddy under the blanket killing him. Now, since we had never seen any of the movies before, that was shocking because it freaked us all out to know he was under the blanket with her. But ever from that point on, if somebody gets killed, if he guts you, you see the wounds. You don't see this figure that's stabbing somebody. You know what I mean? Because it's metaphysical, whatever you want to call it. This man stabs you, and you only see the wounds. But now all of a sudden, this man is underneath her blanket. That shouldn't have been.
There's a lot of things about the Freddy Krueger series that didn't make sense. Especially the way he dies in each one is always stupid. Every time.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had a legit death where it made sense.
The only death I thought was palatable was the one where they had to go find his bones. The third one. They had to find his bones and bury it. I did like that concept.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was cool. Well, say because that's the same one where when Nancy got stabbed, she thought everything was all safe because she was hugging the dad when dad turned into Freddy and stabbed him in the stomach. Nigga been dead. But
I could have dealt with that, but then
half of them she wouldn't even sleep in some of those, weren't they? Like, so weren't some of them just normal day things?
No, but the thing,
Like, I swear they weren't sleeping.
that's the
and
thing
everybody
though.
was kills.
If you close your eyes for half a second in the Freddy universe, you dead.
Well, they did that in the was that the remake? That was the remake where
that was like
if
a
you,
little
if
REM
you
sleep
even
or
not
whatever.
if just for a half a second.
They did in the old ones.
Well, no, that's true
Old girl
because
was
some
in
people.
class, she was like,
That's right.
all of a sudden she was
I
in a
think in that
dream.
case when they fell asleep, they got locked in and pulled in and couldn't come out of the sleep. But in the last one, the remake,
Like, I wasn't even tired. This nigga just grab me.
That's how it is. You not offer. You in the dream. If I just went just like this, I'll be in a dream. Right?
I'm still mad at him sucking your girl's breath out.
That's exactly what I was talking about too. Because she was just sitting there like.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's it. That's the exact one. Yeah.
Did that poor girl wrong. No, that girl got asthma. You couldn't kill her some other way. That was wrong.
Speaking of, did you know it's the fifth one. Remember the fifth one where the girl, she's like, she's at the dinner table and everybody's just laughing at her while she's getting, like, they're shoving food in her mouth?
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but did you know she was eating her insides?
No, I didn't.
She
Now
was
I'm going
eating
to go upstairs
her-
and
I
pop it
looked
up
it
and
up
pop it in.
Technically, in the full scene, he was going, like, they didn't show it because I guess it would have been rated X. If they showed it, they showed these two scenes. There's one or two scenes. In the scene, he was taking the food, like, I guess the food that she ate, because she was like a model, so she was like real weird about like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, with the stuff she ate. So he was going like this, getting the food out of her stomach, and was just feeding it to her. So basically, she was eating her insides at the dinner table. And
I may have seen it, not really
and
paid
that's
attention
why-
to it.
that's why it was so nasty when she opened when they opened the fridge, and she coming out like, everything in there was rotten. Also, she was eating old rotten food from inside her stomach. That's why that death was so crazy. Like, in the other way, it just looked like he hugged her to death, and and she couldn't breathe. No, she was eating her insides, and she was choking on her insides. Yeah, so he over there looking stuck. But so yeah,
I may have seen it and didn't really acknowledge it.
no,
So,
no, we never knew because they cut that part out where he was scooping the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
okay.
the rated X. I guess it would have been rated X. They had that, and then that one dude, the guy from the fourth one, remember he died when he fell asleep at the wheel, and then he was turning into like part of the motor. Somehow he got into a motorcycle, but he was like, yeah, ultimate maximum overdrive. You know what he was doing. Yeah, so when he was doing that, in the real sense, it was way longer and it was way more gratuitous. Yeah, so with them two scenes, it would have been rated X, but they took them two scenes when she was eating her insides out, and then when old dude was driving the motorcycle.
Here's a quick one. Stormtroopers. We're not gonna talk about the fact that they can't shoot.
I was about to say
nothing.
they can't aim for nothing.
And Leia don't miss. She hits everybody. But these guys, they've got armor, and the only thing that seems to penetrate it is a laser blast. Okay.
Okay.
Tell me how these Ewoks were able to take these people out with rocks and sticks.
I never thought about that.
That's true. My thing is, in the new one, why does Captain Phasma the only one that has bulletproof armor?
Because she's Captain Phasma.
Because they only had enough for one suit in the budget.
Because
They had to use the rest of trying to fill up that Death Star.
Another thing about budgets, why did they get downgraded in there? I understand this is original, I understand it's prequels, but they got downgraded as time went past.
Look at that. Look at these next ones. Hey.
Yeah. As time went past, because the originals are the ones with Darth Vader, but in the prequels, when they're the clones, they have much better technology. I understand the movies obviously are newer,
Right.
but it doesn't really make sense to where they have all
Stormtroopers
this
had jetpacks.
Yeah, like so to where they were doing all this stuff. And in the prequels, which was supposed to be before, they had much higher technology. Then it became stormtroopers, and then all they had was guns, and them weak behind speeders that they had. And then after that, it goes to the First Order, and then their technology is way beyond both. But it's like, which is understandable. But why does the prequels have better technology than the original series? That part doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, if we're doing that, yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
There's a lot for Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of plot holes.
Scar, the Lion King, just killed Mufasa. Tells Simba to go away and never return.
Yeah.
Turns around 10 seconds later and says, kill him. Okay?
Yeah.
Because
That was cold.
he's a threat if he returns.
Yeah.
Why not kill him while you're talking to him? Why even talk to him? Nobody's around to see it.
True.
He could have killed him right then
He's
and
a
there.
coward.
That is true. He was a coward.
'Cause he's a coward.
Mufasa dead too.
And why did Mufasa land on his feet like all cats are supposed to do?
No, that nigga ain't get a chance to land his feet. It was a stampede. He got ran over.
He landed on the foot.
Nigga got pounced. Supposed to, they got like nigga laying on an antelope. They got stomped out.
I had problems with that whole movie because when you look at it, it sent all kind of terrible messages to people. You've got a man who's jealous of his brother's throne.
Okay.
Has him set up, has him killed, kills him. He killed him, threw him down runs a psychological game on his son. Say you killed your father. You saw that boy mentally snap. Right then, his face got long. His eyes looked like Tom and Jerry. He literally snapped on television. Then he told them to go kill him. So now he's a child murderer, or at least attempted child murderer. The boy leaves, hooks up with two potheads that say Hakuna Matata. Don't worry about it. Let's get high.
Yeah, they were trash. Yeah, they really were. They really were potheads.
So then the girl comes back. She's obviously the stronger of the two. He can't whoop her in a fair fight. Not that we're gonna talk about a boy fighting a girl, but anyway,
he bugs for years. He had no nutrients in his
Nigga was snacking.
Yeah, that's the way he's gonna win that fight.
He wasn't even a lion no more. He was like what's his name off of Shark Tales? He turned into a dolphin. His nigga was a shark turned into a dolphin.
Not once does he tell his boys who he is or where he's from. He's like Hakeem in Coming to America, trying to keep his identity secret. So then this dude comes back and say, "Look, man, they need you back home. You're a prince. Let everybody know you're a prince. Go back and claim your throne." He don't want it. He don't want it. He don't. I want to keep getting high. He's Ricky Williams now all of a sudden. And then he goes back. Scar's over there beating his mama. Think about it. Backhanded that girl.
Ran that place in the...
He ran the place into the ground, so he ain't no kind. He ain't no kind of home. What I was trying to say, homeowner. He ain't the head of the house. He ain't the head of the house.
Hold on, another thing.
And it's set in Africa.
Why the
black people gotta? I'm sorry.
Why did he feel? Why was he jealous? Why would he feel like he could run it better? If he knew he wasn't as strong as Mufasa, he knew what it took to run it, and he knew he wasn't capable of doing that. As soon as he was able to run it, it was trash. They ate up everything before, and they had the place looking dry. He was helping the hyenas run the elephant graveyard and all the stuff down there, and that place was trash. Why did he think he could run Pride Rock?
That was a lust for power. And here's the thing.
He gained nothing from that. They all was gonna die, including him.
Well, here's the thing.
If
if you're the brother to the king, you want for nothing. What's the problem?
I don't get how
you're just as royal as he is.
I don't get how everything was supposed to be good again now that Simba was king. They said they had no food. I don't get that. Just because you had an evil dictator gone, it's like nigga, y'all was just hungry. Like
it's a circle. They want to be eaten by a real nigga.
They was all cheering like even the zebras and lions and or zebras and I wasn't cantaloupe, antelopes or something like that. They were all happy this nigga was king again, but it's like nigga, y'all still gonna get eaten.
I mean, but that's in the beginning. He said, but don't we eat the gazelle? And he was like, yeah, but it's the circle of life. They got to be like,
that's not
cool
fair.
It's okay to eat everybody, but we can't be killed.
Yeah, as long as they ain't scarred with it. Like that's not all that matters. Like, but I don't know. It is kind of messed up.
Okay, Gremlins.
Gremlins.
I gotta go with Gremlins.
Well, what happened to Gremlins?
Don't feed them after midnight.
Okay.
Which time zone are you talking about? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is dumb. I never thought about that. That is dumb.
And
it's midnight somewhere.
Yeah, that's
like he's exactly. Like nigga, you was drunk.
That's like the movie Arnold Schwarzenegger when he had to fight the devil. When he was talking to the
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think what you talked about though.
He was talking to the father, and he said, "So you telling me that the devil has to create a child at midnight, at the stroke of midnight?" And the guy said, "Yeah." He said, "Is that Eastern time?"
Oh yeah.
Everybody in the theater lost it, but he had a point. I mean, what happens with daylight savings time?
How do I stop this man? You gotta stop a couple days before.
How you gonna have something that can't get wet?
Wait, what?
The mogwais can't get wet or they multiply.
Oh, I thought you...
What?
I was like, what? Just randomly came out with that. I was like, what?
Mogwais cannot get wet or they multiply. So bathing's are...
Yeah, well, so yeah, they yeah.
I'm
trying to think of another. I had one. I had a plot hole. I just can't think of it now. I just had it earlier, but he's gonna hit me too when we get done with this. That's a sad thing.
Oh shoot! So many movies with plot holes. I'm trying to think of.
I'm just trying to think of like plot holes where it's like it's ridiculous. Because like I said, I had the one. I just can't think of what it was now. I really had it too.
Well, this isn't a plot hole as much as it is stupidity. Michael Myers, Jason.
Okay.
Why is it nobody made an attempt to cut these boys' heads off? I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis finally figured it out. And
I was
cut
gonna
his
say
head
she did.
off. She finally did.
I was gonna say she did.
But other than that,
it ended up being like a janitor or something. Like in the next one, it was a janitor, which didn't make sense.
And shout out to LL Cool J, the first black man to ever get injured in a horror movie and live, because I thought he was dead.
Oh yeah.
Halloween H2O, and a special shout out to the Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes,
first black man to go toe to toe with Michael Myers and live.
Wait. Oh, with Michael Myers.
And win. He won that fight.
I was about to say yeah, because old boy fought Jason, even though he lost.
See, that's it. He lost. So.
He didn't really fight Jason because Jason did fight back. So it was like his name just let him get tired. He's like, all right, my turn. Like,
that nigga was some heat.
That was Rocky and Clubber Lang. He let him get tired and he took him out.
He was trash.
What made me mad is that the way he kept punching him. Looking stupid as hell. Then I'm not gonna say take your best shot. I'm walking away.
After all that,
is that a plot hole too? With Clubber Lang, he didn't block any of those hits he was taking.
That whole first round was a joke. He didn't land a single punch the entire round.
You're Rocky?
No, Clubber Lang. That first, in the rematch, if you watch that, Rocky was supposed to have him so off his game that he landed every single punch and had Clubber Lang enraged at the end of that. Remember?
Yeah.
Clubber didn't land a single punch except for when he got him in the clinch and started punching him in the rib cage from and talking about, come on, my boy.
But he was hitting some of those times though, and he just kept talking mess.
He got hit the entire round, and
so if he's talking mess, wouldn't that make him angrier? Wouldn't his hits be stronger? And if he got lit up like that the first fight, he should have been dead the second fight. Like his head should have came clean off his body.
Technically, that fight should have been over with because
every one of the fights should have been over with.
But he technically he wasn't intelligently defending himself. So it's like you're done. As soon as Rocky would have ate them 20 shots, Rocky, you have to defend yourself. The ref would have stopped him like, Rocky, you have to defend yourself.
The minute those hands dropped down by his sides and he's standing up there just staring at him, the fight's over.
Yeah.
So the refs are garbage too.
Yeah, I was the refs are definitely trash.
I mean, even the first one, he even said it in Rocky 2 when he won that rematch. He said, "What do you think?" He said, "He's all bad for us." He said, "I saw that man take a beating like I ain't never seen no man get beat before." And he kept coming at the ref. Should have stopped that fight. Duke just said right there that fight should have been stopped. I just and I get mad at Creed when I think about. It's not so much a plot hole, but it's another stupid thing. When the ref was checking Creed's status before he let him resume the fight, he said, "What's your name?" He said, "Creed." And then he went, "What's your name?" And he went, "Creed, you're not supposed to get that man hyped up like that."
I don't think that's what he meant to do.
I don't care.
I think he just asked.
He answered your question. Why do you need? Do you want? If you do something, you ask his name and then you say what, like in the movie Body and Soul. He asked him, "What's your name?" He said, "What's the date?" And he said, he said, "What day is it?" He said, "Oh, I didn't know that when I came in here," and he ran right back into the fight. This man went, "What's your name? Hit him up. Come on." Okay.
I got one more I want to bring up. This is what Uncle Craig said, but I want to put it on the podcast. We was talking about Thanos. He said,
"Oh yeah."
He said the whole reason for him doing this was because there wasn't enough resources, so he snapped his finger and half of everything disappeared. But why did he just snap his finger and double everything?
Double the food.
Double the food supply.
Double the planet so you could have another place to live.
Which makes perfect sense. It like honestly, if you can get rid of everything, I'm sure you can double food. You can make a couple more hamburgers for people to live off of. Didn't even try. He was just like, well, this the only way.
Yeah, we got to take it all out.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
No, I'm putting that on Facebook.
So sorry, guys. Not enough slices for everybody.
That is, yeah.
We gonna end it there. Cause that's a good revelation. Keep it tight.
I want that pizza. I want that pizza.
You want that pizza?
I want the pizza.
What was that dance? Because I remember we were supposed to have a dance after.
I don't know.
I forget what it was. It was some dance.
I'm out.